You work your whole life for something, a dream, a company, a future. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, someone pulls the rug out from under you. And suddenly, you're staring at the pieces of everything you built. Wondering who handed them the scissors. I'm Ethan Cole, 41, founder and CEO of a construction tech company I built from a dusty garage in Milwaukee. No handouts, no investors, just late nights, bad coffee, and grit. I used to weld steel beams by hand and cold call property developers between shifts. 10 years later, that same company is worth over $40 million. I never had time for much else. No wife, no kids, just spreadsheets and supply chains. Until I met Lauren. She was everything I didn't know I was missing. Smart, articulate, with this calm confidence that made boardroom warriors shrink. We met at a charity gala. She was there representing a medical startup. I was there writing a check big enough to quiet guilt. She asked me about my tie. I laughed. We talked for hours. What followed felt easy, real. She wasn't impressed by the money, she said. Claimed she'd dated enough finance jerks with big egos and small plans. With Lauren, it was Sunday mornings with black coffee and blueprints, road trips upstate, late-night talks about everything and nothing. She made me believe I'd finally met someone who saw me, not just the empire I built. I wasn't naive. I've been burned before. But with her, I let my guard down. And I started picturing a future that wasn't just quarterly goals and merger terms. I started picturing her. I never thought I'd be the guy to bring up a prenup. But when you build something from scratch, every screw, every sacrifice, you're not just protecting money. You're protecting a piece of your soul. So, a few weeks after I proposed to Lauren, I brought it up. I was careful. I didn't want it to feel like a lack of trust. It's not about you, I told her. It's about what I've built. About making sure we start with clarity, not conflict. She smiled, nodded, even took my hand. Of course, Ethan. I get it. I'd want the same if I were you. We brought in my legal team. She said she'd have her own review it. Everything seemed fine, simple clauses about ownership of the company, how assets would be separated if things went south. She didn't push back, didn't ask for changes. But then, 2 months later, something felt off. I was reviewing some quarterly paperwork when I noticed a strange file in our shared drive, same title as the final prenup, but dated 2 weeks after I signed it. My stomach tightened. I opened it. Someone had altered several clauses, small changes, surgically precise. In this version, her ownership rights in the event of divorce were drastically expanded, control over future shares, influence on board appointments. It was subtle, almost legal noise, but devastating if signed. My name was there on the last page, digitally copied. I hadn't signed this. I felt the first crack that night. I didn't say anything immediately. I needed to be sure. But I started watching more closely. She took more business calls in other rooms, flinched when I asked simple questions. Her phone, once tossed casually on the couch, now rarely left her hand. Something was shifting, and I began to wonder, was Lauren ever real? It started small. A charge on the company card. Flowers delivered midweek to an address that wasn't hers. Another for dinner at a hotel the night she claimed to be home with a friend. I felt a chill. I asked Jenna, my executive assistant, to quietly pull recent access logs from our internal systems. A few days later, she returned with something I didn't want to see. Several confidential files had been downloaded using Lauren's credentials. Digging deeper, I traced emails forwarded to an unfamiliar address. The domain belonged to one of our top competitors. Halvorsengroup.my chest tightened. Still, I needed confirmation. Then I found it. A forwarded message from Lauren's email. He's planning a Q3 product launch that could crush your pricing model. See attachments. The reply. You're invaluable as always. I stared at the screen in silence. No more doubt. She wasn't just lying to me. She was selling me out. I waited until she came home. No shouting, no accusations. Just a printed stack of emails on the table and silence. She walked in, kissed my cheek. Saw the papers. What's this? Your side business, I said calmly. She scanned the pages. Her face changed. This is a misunderstanding. No, I said. It's betrayal, and it's over. She dropped the act. You don't understand. I did this for us. You work too much. I just helped balance things. You sold me out. Ethan, wait. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. That night, I revoked every access, email, bank, company accounts, changed the locks, called legal, called security, called it done. She texted, called, showed up crying at the gate, but I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. The woman I was going to marry had chosen profit over partnership, and I chose freedom. 2 weeks later, I got served. A lawsuit, wrongful termination, emotional damages, breach of verbal agreement. Her lawyers demanded a 7-figure settlement. You owe her, the letter said. I didn't flinch. Then came the text. We need to talk. I'm pregnant. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent a formal request through my attorney for proof and a future DNA test. She delayed, dodged, cried in voicemails, but the truth came quick. No doctor's record, no appointments, no pregnancy. Fabricated. I filed suit, fraud, attempted extortion, and defamation, and I made it public. Emails, timelines, her fake ultrasound, all submitted in court. Suddenly, the press turned. The angelic fiancée, just another con. She disappeared from social media. Her lawyer dropped her case. I didn't celebrate. I just exhaled. She played her last card and lost. I was no longer her victim. I was her reckoning point. 4 months passed. Then it arrived, engraved, gold-trimmed, arrogant. You were cordially invited to the wedding of Lauren Hayes and Nathan Halvorson, the man she leaked my strategies to. My former rival, now her groom. At first, I tossed it aside, but something in me paused, not out of pain, out of precision. I RSVP'd. Yes. The venue was absurd, glass walls, champagne fountains, tech billionaires everywhere. I wore a quiet navy suit and no smile. When I entered, she froze. Nathan offered a forced handshake. I took it.com. Measured. My presence spoke more than any toast could. She leaned in, whispered, "Why did you come?" I looked her in the eye, to see how cheap ambition can look in white. And then I smiled for the first time in months. She chose this, and I chose to show her I had nothing left to lose, which made me the most dangerous man in the room. The ceremony buzzed with wealth and ego. I stayed in the shadows until she pulled me aside near the courtyard. "Ethan," she said, voice low, "you didn't have to come. This isn't your stage anymore." "No," I replied, "just a front row seat." She scoffed. "You think showing up makes you powerful? Please. You were always easy to play, so desperate for something real." That's when it happened. She kept talking, boasting about the prenup trick, the fake pregnancy, the media spin. "I played every angle," she said, "and you still showed up. That's the best part." I tapped my watch, recording. Crystal clear. Minutes later, I stepped onto the reception stage. Before the first dance, I said, "The bride has a few words she forgot she already shared." I played the audio. The room fell silent. Nathan's face collapsed. He walked out without a word. Lauren stood frozen, white dress trembling. And I finally walked away, not out of vengeance, out of closure. It was nearly a year later when she called. Unknown number, but I knew that voice the second I answered. "Ethan, it's me." She spoke slowly. Said Nathan left her. Investors pulled out. She was being sued by Halvorson's board. Her name was radioactive. "I lost everything," she whispered. I listened, not out of sympathy, but curiosity. The woman who once calculated every move now sounded hollow. "I don't know why I'm calling," she said. "I guess I just needed someone to hear me." I waited, then replied, calm and final, "I hear you, and I wish you peace." Click.no anger.no satisfaction, just silence. That chapter closed the way it needed to, not with revenge, but with resolve. Because victory isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's walking away whole when someone else tried to break you. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all.